wildest dreams. Maybe that look could have carried me to streets of gold. Things aren't always as they seem. Looking back on all the chances that I missed, some I held, some slipped away. One street over where my memories exist. I wonder what would change. I really couldn't say. In this life there's nothing certain, except the curtain that rises to the stage. So they gave no second guessing. I just forget the lessons that I couldn't learn. Because one street over there's a life I could have known that would have kept me from the one I had today. Times gone by, I've traded like dirt in the clay. I thought my memories would end. One street over's now 1,000 miles away. When I close my eyes, I'm back to where I've been. In this life there's nothing certain, except the curtain that rises to the stage. So they ain't no second guessing. I just forget the lessons that I couldn't learn. Because one street over there's a life I could have known that would have kept me from the one I had today.
Good morning. How you doing? This is 1100 WSGI. I'm Utah Laverne. This is One Street Over. What is it? Tuesday? It takes me a minute now since school is out and I'm a teacher. And so trying to keep my bearings on what day is it? No. It's Wednesday. I said Tuesday. See, I can't do it. I'm all about my schedule, and I tell you, just this, not going to school is kind of wonky. I'm actually going to be running by there today because I got things I got to check on. I got things I'm going to be doing all summer. So, how y'all doing? How's your summer going? I've got my new friend Carol. Cathy. I did that again. Cathy McDowell is here. I am so sorry, Cathy McDowell. It's so funny. I ran into you in Walmart the other day. And it was so funny. I was talking to my mom. I'm always on the phone with my mom, and we chatted for a minute. But thank you for coming out this morning.
Well, thanks for having me.
Absolutely. That's what this is about. Just, I tell everybody, reach out, let me know what's going on. And I have been very curious about what you guys have got going on because I've never had a chance to go to this festival. And I'm quite curious about it because I'm very curious about the history of it. She's from Coopertown. And they've got the Barrel Festival going on, right?
Yes, ma'am.
So what is that, and what is that all about? And I know there's history there.
Yes.
So I'm very curious. What is all this about?
Well, Coopertown has the word Cooper in it, and that is a barrel maker. And so way back in the day, a bunch of barrel makers lived there. And so that's the history of the town. And I actually knew that because when I homeschooled, I had a day camp at my house for homeschool kids, like a summer camp, and we did the history of Robertson County way back in the 90s. And so I found that out back when you had to go into the archives at the library and you didn't have computers. So that is the heritage and why that town is named Coopertown. Really?
Okay.
Yes.
See, now I've got a friend whose last name's Hooper. And he says that's connected to the barrel making, the hoop makers.
Yeah.
So the Hoopers worked with the Coopers. How about that?
We sound like a Dr. Seuss book now.
Isn't that hysterical?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness, because that's one of his big things is he's always telling the story about what Hooper means. And he'll have to come to the festival.
There you go.
We'll have the Hoopers and the Coopers together.
There we go.
I'm sorry, this just makes me giggle. But, welcome to your Wednesday morning, y'all. Talking about the Coopers and the Hoopers at Coopertown. So when did the festival start?
Well, back in 2013, Sam Childs was the mayor.
Okay.
And from what I've been told, he just wanted an event that reminded him of bringing community together like he had in his childhood.
Okay.
And he, again, what I've been told is he wanted a little town parade. Well, instead of a parade, they had a festival, and they had it on Old Coopertown Road. So they would block the road off and have the vendors come in, and they actually had barrel makers come down
That's
and
cool.
showed barrels being made. And we tried this year, but unsuccessfully, unfortunately.
Yeah.
So the festival itself started in 2013, and then in 2014, Vicki Baumgardner, who works at City Hall, wanted to add a 5-mile race to it. And so that became the kickoff component, and that still is happening this year, and you can still sign up for that. So they do the 5-mile race over by City Hall in Coopertown. So if you know anything about the area, Highway 49 kind of divides there. And so the race is on the Burgess Gower side of Highway 49, and the festival is on the Coopertown Elementary School side of 49. And so the festival kept growing and building in numbers, but then 2020 came. And
Of course.
so, as with most things in the world, it stopped. And it's just taken a while to get it back going. And my husband and I became members of the Community Development Committee, and they asked for someone to do the festival. And I said, okay.
You raised your hand.
I did. I had done lots of large tennis events during my career with the USTA, and I thought, oh, this will be similar. Well, it's similar, but it's a lot bigger and a much broader reach.
Yeah.
So that's kind of the backstory. And so we brought back the 5-mile race. Again, you can still register for that, and the festival. But instead of being on the street this year, we are actually filling up the campus of Coopertown Elementary School.
I love it. I think that is just going to be a wonderful time. Now, did you give the date and all of that that's going on?
Okay.
When is this going to happen?
Well, it is this Saturday, June the 3rd. The race is at 7, and if you haven't signed up and would like to, you need to come about 6 or so. You can still sign up that morning. And then the festivities over at Coopertown Elementary School kick off at 9 a.m. until 1 p.m.
Okay. So it's going to be a good time. And is there any charge for this?
No, well, there is a charge to run the race.
Oh, of course. Yes.
But everything else, as far as admission, is free. And we have live music from 9 to 1. We have a kids zone that's totally free. And I can go into detail on any of this if you'd like. And then we have 80 vendors and 15 food vendors.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's a big thing.
I love it. It's going to be a great time. And and it's something I have heard about forever. It's just one of those things that if you haven't been, you need to go, and it's time to get this thing fired back up again. I'm very excited for it.
Yeah.
And I'm sure the community is glad that you took it on to bring it back to the community.
It is, and we have had such support. We received grant funding from the Robertson County Economic Development, and we worked hard on the grant, and we're 100% funded. So
that's wonderful.
Yeah, so
that's wonderful.
Just the support from the chamber and economic development, as well as just vendor support, and it has been overwhelming.
I love it. That's wonderful. And I think it's going to be a great event. Have you checked the weather? How's the weather looking for you this weekend?
Well, I had been told all along it's always hot, and I kept looking. And actually, we're going to have probably the hottest day of 2023 so far. It's looking, when I checked yesterday evening, it was 91 and very little chance of rain.
So that's wonderful.
Yes.
But it will be warm. But, I think actually that was, they had the last year they had the festival before the whole COVID thing. I was running for Congress. And it was an event that I was trying to get to and didn't make it. And because I had something else somewhere else I'd already committed to. And I came by there. It seems like now, as we're talking about it, I tried to get by there for just a few minutes, and it was hot. That was
Yeah.
one thing I remember. But you just prepare for it. You come dressed for it, and you'll have a great time and learn something about the history of our very cool county that's just so diverse. It's just so interesting, all the different things. Well, and you think about the barrel makers and all of that. Why did we need a lot of barrel makers here? Why would that be?
I mean, I would guess for food preservation and stuff, and also the whiskey. I mean,
Well, I
I
was gonna
think,
say
yeah,
we were
yeah,
big distilleries.
yeah,
I mean,
big,
we had producers
yeah,
all over the place.
yes,
That's I know it's one of those things that they're like, oh really? But that's a big part of Robertson County's
yeah,
heritage before Prohibition.
yeah.
And the whole reason, that the reason why the where they have the museum, right?
Yes, ma'am.
The building, that's an old post office.
Right.
And the reason why it was so fortified and so massive is because in the basements where they kept all the that was the bank. That's where they kept all the
Oh,
fortunes
wow.
connected to all the whiskey making, yeah.
Did not know
Yeah,
that.
yep. We were quite, it's fascinating. But it makes sense
Yeah.
that if you had all of this distilling going on, they had to have barrels. So,
That's what
there you
Coopertown
go.
supply.
There you go. It makes sense to me, but that's fascinating. But I think this is going to be a great festival, just a lot of fun. Don't ever say there's not something going on in
Oh,
this
my gosh,
community.
yeah.
There's always something going on. Just wonderful stuff happening. And I love Coopertown. I got good friends up in that area, the Barnetts, and just dear friends. And so I come out there and visit y'all from time to time. And two, I've got some things I want to do. I don't need to go down that rabbit hole. I'm sorry. Which I was talking about summer school. They're going to have kids out there, and you were talking about raising your hand to do this.
Yeah.
There's a program that you can connect with through United Way called Raise Your Hand. You need to go on United Way, and you can raise your hand and help tutor some of these kids that are going to be in summer school. And I go ahead and share that because in case you're listening, Brian and Tiffany, I was looking through my notes to see if I called and told y'all that I need y'all to not come in today because I've got the foreign exchange program coming in. We were trying to get them on schedule. They've got a student from Tanzania that they want to come in with before she has to leave. And this was the only time we could do it. So Brian and Tiffany, I think I told y'all, but I can't find my notes where I said. So Brian, Tiffany, if you're out there listening, if you guys can just hold off today, and I need to use your slot this afternoon or at 7:30 for the foreign exchange program. So with that said, let me go ahead and pause. We're going to take a break, and we're going to continue talking with Cathy McDowell. Got it right that time. Thank you very much. And she is with Coopertown and the Barrel Festival. She is now in charge, right?
Well, I'm the team leader.
You're the team leader. Okay. She's in charge. And we'll talk about, I want you to when we come back, talk to a little bit me about some of the more specifics of some of the things that you're going to have for kids, what kind of food trucks you expect. Do you need volunteers?
Okay.
You're a team leader, but do you need people to come help you still? Or have you got a pretty good team of volunteers that you think? Well, let's talk about that in just a minute. Those are the things I want you to address after we talk about Cumberland Connect, one of our sponsors here, one of our full-time sponsors at One Street Over. We appreciate our sponsors so very, very much, making this possible. And if I've got Cumberland Connect coming to my house tomorrow. I'm so excited. I got on the phone with them and we were talking about getting, I've got a gig. I'm part of the gig club. So, almost everybody that comes in here that's got Cumberland Connect, we're all part of the gig club because why not? So many of us were used to paying about the same rate for terrible internet. And so now if we can pay what we've been paying all these years and get a gig, why not? So a lot of us are in the gig club, and you could be too. And we're going to try to extend that signal because I've got barns just right beside my house. Now, we don't know if how far it's going to extend. They say it goes about 100 feet, something like that. But if it can boost my signal a little bit where I can take the signal out into my barns to where I'm doing my photography work and all those things, it's going to be awesome. There's also an option that you can put a conduit in and extend your signal. There's all kinds of options. But what's so cool is when you call Cumberland Connect, they're going to explain all this to you. And it was so funny when they said, well, it could take us a little bit to get out there. And then I get a phone call and they're going to come in 3 days. So it's great. I'm so excited about being a Cumberland Connect customer. I've been with Cumberland Electric forever. Of course, if you're a Cumberland Electric customer, that's who's going to have access to Cumberland Connect. And you can call them to see if you're if they're in your neighborhood or when they're going to get there. 1-800-987-2362 is the number, 1-800-987-2362, or go to cumberlandconnect.org, cumberlandconnect.org, and put in your zip code and just say, hey, when are you going to be knocking on my door? And they'll keep you up to date. Now, if you're somebody that needs some help financially and you say, man, $80 for a gig, that's a lot. But there's an affordable connectivity program providing qualifying households with monthly credit to help pay for internet services. And if you're eligible, you could receive a credit of up to $30 per month toward broadband services. Guess what? They've got a plan that starts at $30. You could get free internet, and they want to help you out because connectivity is a utility now. We all need it. And they recognize that, and they want to help you. So if you want to contact them, go to cumberlandconnect.org, cumberlandconnect.org, and always please let them know that U-Turn sent you. And we are talking about the Coopertown Barrel Festival coming up this weekend. And Cathy McDowell is here. I'm a new friend. And have we met before? You look familiar to me. How do I know you?
I used to go to the Y.
Okay, that's where I know you from. I knew I recognized you. That is so funny. Because when I saw you in Walmart the other day, and I'm like, because it was almost like that, oh, we haven't met before. And I thought, man, I recognize her. Yeah. And maybe you have said that to me, but are you still at the Y?
No, ma'am.
Okay.
We kind of got stuff at the house.
I got you. You got your own time. Yeah. But I love our Y. That's just, I meet so many people because I had a little stint. I love the Y. If I could work it into my schedule, I'd be working up there some now. Anyway. So the questions that I ask you prior to the break, you unpack that there's going to be activities for the kids and there's going to be food trucks. So tell me a little bit more about those specifics.
Okay. First, I would say if you're coming, come Highway 49.
Okay.
Because of road closures.
Ah, okay. Yeah. Because of the way you're going to have it all set up.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Highway 49. Got it.
To come to the festival, take Highway 49 either from Springfield or the interstate is your best option.
Okay.
So when you arrive at the festival, the parking is across the highway on the City Hall side.
Okay.
South Haven Church, as well as some local side-by-side owners, but South Haven is bringing 2 shuttles, a 12 and a 25 passenger, to bring people safely across the road.
Cross 49.
Right. So once you get off the shuttle, you come in the main entrance there. You'll be greeted by our lovely welcome booth staff. You'll be provided a map and a barrel bingo card, and I'll talk about barrel bingo in a minute.
Fun.
So you come in, and you're in the Old Coopertown Road lot for vendors, and that is where our music stage will be, and we will be doing a live door prize drawings every hour on the 45s from that stage. And so you'll make your way through that lot up onto the new drive around the front of the school where you will find our food vendors.
Okay.
We have Italian, lobster, 3 different types of barbecue, Tojo's Food for the Soul, Rollin' Ribeye, Greek, the Moo Mobile, Kona Ice.
Wow.
All there. Yes,
wow.
It is phenomenal.
Oh my goodness, what a list of food trucks.
As well as you make your way through the food trucks, our Pleasant View firemen are in a booth at the Ewell Elliott lot, and they'll be serving hot chicken.
Oh, wow.
So anything
gosh,
other
than
Mexican, we've got your dessert covered, Elvis shaved ice in the back. So as you make your way past those food trucks, then you enter the kids zone area. There's 2 inflatables.
Okay.
And I have a lovely group of volunteers from Clarissa Gardner's organization, Chosen, coming out to help with that. I'm very excited about partnering with that not-for-profit here in town. And then you go through the inflatables, and then on the basketball court, I have 3 churches, Coopertown Church of Christ, Providence Baptist, and Battle Creek Baptist, all having lots of fun and games for the kids.
Fun.
As well as some free water. And then I have Honeysuckle Hill in the far back, who are a sponsor, and they are bringing the cow train and doing free rides with the kids all day long. And I have a face painter.
Oh, my goodness.
So the kids are going to lose their minds. I actually was working up at Coopertown Elementary and was telling the kindergarten class what we were doing. And this little boy looked at me and said, "You need to text my mom."
Ha, ha, ha. I love that.
The kids are going to...
Please text my mom. Yeah. That's great.
And then there's another bank of vendors, including our veterans in the back. So, you know, if
Awesome.
you come, please be sure this is a whole campus experience and experience every bit of it.
Oh, that's going to be great. Oh,
Yeah.
my goodness. Well, you know, you mentioned Coopertown Church of Christ. I know those guys.
They're
That's Adam over there.
all of them.
Yeah.
They have been phenomenal. And they are allowing us to use their parking lot for vendor parking.
Oh, fun.
Yeah,
Well,
they are
see,
just all in.
Brian Pooley is with United Way.
Oh, yeah, sure.
And he is part of that church. And
Yes.
so they may come sliding in here because I still can't remember if I called them and said, hey, I need your slot for the foreign exchange program at 7:30 today. But so if he does, he can just tag in and just reinforce the fact, yes, you need to come
Yes.
to Coopertown this weekend. It sounds like just a wonderful time. And you've got it works out good because if the school was still under construction and all of that
yeah.
stuff, because you said a while ago, this is the first year y'all have had it back.
Right.
Because I think that last year, the construction still going on
Yes.
would probably be a deterrent. I can
Yes.
imagine if you considered doing it last year, you're going, yeah, but they've still got all this going on.
We did. And it was just it wasn't the right time.
Right, but now it is.
Now it is the right time. And as far as volunteers, what I really need are if people would come at like 5:15 in the morning.
That's early, but
Yeah, it is early.
I do those hours. I mean, I know
need-
what you're talking about.
I need mostly people to come and help with getting the vendors in and helping them get unpacked quickly so they can go park. And then, I mean, if you were so led, if you wanted to help like at 1:30 to help them pack up, I mean, I'm sure they would appreciate help getting those tents down and things like that.
Okay.
So it's at the beginning and the end, really, that we have the need for, you know, all hands on deck, and the more hands, the quicker it all gets done.
I gotcha. Now, as you have people come down, I mean, you're going to have people trying to turn in there, I think. Or you're going to have it completely blocked off.
Right. We had a meeting yesterday, and our law enforcement and the town police are phenomenal. They are going to be out there on Highway 49 as well as having signage. And I believe my husband said that the digital sign is already up
Okay.
now, just warning people. But they are going to be getting traffic slowed down, and they're going to do a phenomenal job. And now just for road closures, because of where we're having it, no homeowner will be blocked in their home, which I think is a really good thing.
Right.
They're closing Old Coopertown Road at Highway 49,
Right.
just that block, then back to where Woods Road and Ewell Elliott meet.
Yeah.
That's the only road that will be blocked.
And so if you're a resident there, there's ways to get around.
Yes, ma'am.
You know, so you
Yes.
don't you're not going to be locked in your home. No, you
No.
can't. You're not going to be landlocked, in other words.
No.
But because I can imagine when people come down the road and they see that assortment of food trucks, they're going to be like, I want to stop. And
Yeah.
people who don't know about it. So I think that's going to be, but it's very clearly saying, hey, park over here and then we'll get you.
Yes.
Are they going to have them if you don't want to wait on a shuttle? If you're like, man, I'll just walk. Is there a way? Are they going to have a crossing guard there to walk pedestrians across if they don't want to shuttle across?
There will be a sheriff's deputy
Okay.
in the intersection. I think maybe a city policeman as well.
Okay, because how far is it? Because that's not that far.
No.
From the parking. I mean, you can
No.
easily park and just walk across rather than
Right.
wait. Now, I'm a very impatient person, and I'm like, well, I'll just walk, you know.
Yeah, and you could.
Especially if I'm going to a festival, I'm going because I want to walk around.
Right.
And so I'm just like, I'll just walk, and so that'll be okay.
Yeah, I don't think they're going to stop anybody from doing that. Now, if that lot fills up,
Yeah.
then we're utilizing the parking lot at the Coopertown Middle School
Yeah.
in the back.
Yeah.
And the shuttles will run back there. And that would be a little bit of a hike
Yeah.
from back there.
Yeah, even then. But I mean, if it's like, hey, let's just go for a walk and then we can have lunch and then we can
Yes.
walk it off and go back.
And we will
know?
have tents up
Yeah.
for people to sit and dine, listen to music,
Okay.
that kind of thing. So, I mean, basically, come spend the day.
Oh, yeah.
And, you know, I know to buy a festival shirt, they are only taking cash or
Okay.
possibly a check. They're not set
Okay.
up to do electronic payment. And other vendors, I'm not sure. That was a question we got. Is this a cashless event? Because that
Yeah.
is a trend.
You better believe it is. Yeah.
And so now the thing is, you might want to bring like
Enough
$20 to get a shirt if you want to get a festival shirt.
Okay. Well, and you'll find pretty much all food trucks are digital now.
Yeah.
I mean, I've not met, I don't know if I've ever been to one that just couldn't accept cash anymore. But I've not met too many that can't do
Right.
digital purchases. But a lot of the times, like you said, the sponsors, they're just not set up with it. They're just doing this once a year. And so it's just a cash thing. What do the shirts look like? We should have
Oh my
brought,
gosh, I
the
should have brought one.
I love the idea of a barrel festival shirt. That's just
Well-
kind of that's just got such a fun feel to it. I think that would be a great shirt to have.
Well, I would have my marketing gal
Yeah.
with me, but she's in Europe.
Uh-oh.
Probably on her way back.
Yeah.
But she did a phenomenal job with these shirts. They are like that Florida teal color
Oh, fun. Yeah, that's
with
fun.
the logo on the lapel here, and then the full logo on the back, 6-color print on the back. So they're not gray.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
They're fun. They're a fun shirt, and they're that
Yeah.
Bella canvas, so they're
yeah.
really soft.
Oh, those sound wonderful, and
breathable,
I love the sound of that. But
Yeah.
I love t-shirts, as everybody knows. I
should have brought you one. I'm
no,
sorry.
I'll try to get there and get one myself. But it's so funny. I can't really wear t-shirts all the time as a teacher, and so that's one thing that I'm embracing during the summers. I get to wear my t-shirts again. So very good. I'm talking with Cathy McDowell, my old friend from the Y. It's just like I kept looking at you. And I'm like, wow, how do I know you? Oh, I remember well now our connections. So it's just so funny. I love this community. It's just
I
so
do
cool.
too.
Isn't it wonderful?
It
We're
is.
so blessed. I tell you what, let me go ahead and pause and take another break, and then we're going to come back and we're going to wrap up with you. And then when our guests get in here, we'll bring them on in, and we could hear from Brian and Tiffany, who I think I told that they're not supposed to come in today because we've got all the folks from the foreign exchange program, but because we're going to meet with a student from Tanzania. I'm excited about that. But let's pause and talk about Barry and Rebecca Richards with the Exit Realty Garden Gate team. My friends in real estate, hung out with them at the Kilgore Station Bluegrass Festival a couple of weeks ago. But they are I always mention those things because I want to talk to you about how they volunteer in the community. You will see them sponsoring all kinds of events. They're out and about. They've been up in Cross Plains for 27 plus years. They're part of this community. They specialize in Robertson County properties, but they also buy and sell in the surrounding counties and across the state line in Kentucky. So if you want to connect with them, all you have to do is get in touch with them at sellwithbecky.com, or buy.robertsoncounty.com. They are the ones that will make sure that you have everything you need when it comes to showing the footage. If you've got a piece of property and you're saying, man, nobody's looking at it, nobody's coming and taking and considering it as they're trying to buy, maybe you need new photos, maybe you need some drone footage, maybe you need videography. Barry being from a marketing background, he was a vice president of a media marketing company for 17 years, so he's expert at that. He's been helping me with audio video as we build the program at Greenbrier for audio and video production. I just can't say enough about how giving they are to the community and how awesome they are to work with in real estate. Connect with them today by calling Becky at 615-504-7425, 615-504-7425, and please let them know U-Turn sent you. Okay, Miss Cathy. It's so funny, I've been sitting here trying to figure out, okay, did I let Brian and Tiffany know? And then, when I sit down, I said it was Tuesday, no, it's Wednesday. Well, Brian and Tiffany don't come in until Thursday because Aaron Slate just walked in. I'm like, oh, it's Wednesday. I'm so mixed up, y'all. I love it when my students go, Miss Vivio, I'm just so ADD. And I like, you're talking to the queen. Sit down. But anyway. Oh, Aaron's here, so yay! Everything's fine. I can call and talk to. We do have, and I've got the wrong header on the thing because I've just had in my head that I was putting in the Thursday schedule. But forgive me, I'm just a scattered.
Well, we had Memorial Day, and that
Yeah.
always throws you off, right?
But I worked Memorial Day, so I should be on track, But anyway, Cathy McDowell is here right now. It is Wednesday. We are talking about the Barrel Festival that is on Saturday. Aaron Slate is on the way in. He's going to talk to us about financial issues, and then tomorrow, Thursday, we'll figure that out later. So anyway, recap what we're talking about, Cathy.
All right. This Saturday, June the 3rd, Coopertown Barrel Festival is back. begins with a run at 7 o'clock, starting at City Hall. And you can sign up even the morning of, be there before 7. Then after that's winding up, come across the road to the festival where you will have 80 vendors, 15 food vendors, an amazing kids zone, live music, and see a bunch of friends and have the most phenomenal Saturday of June you're ever going to have.
It does sound wonderful. It does sound absolutely wonderful. I think it's a great idea. I'm tickled that it's back because the history aspect of it is just wonderful, and I love learning about our county. The one thing, did you mention whether or not you are going to have, is there going to be somebody explaining the history and doing that in some way?
We had wanted that,
Okay.
but they were not able to come. And we also had scheduled some people from the Trail of Tears organization to come.
Oh, yeah.
But they had to pull out. But I will say that Remember the Removal Riders will be coming through Coopertown on the following Friday. My brain, I can't tell you the date right now. And they are providing breakfast. They do that every year. And that would be wonderful for people to know about that as well. And I can get you more information on that if you'd like.
So that's about Trail of Tears.
Yes.
Okay, and that's called what again?
Remember the Removal. And it's a group of young people that ride bicycles, I believe, the whole Trail of Tears.
Oh, wow. And
Yes.
and that they're going to stop in Coopertown.
They do every year. And we serve them
wow.
breakfast. Yes.
That's cool.
So that's on
super
Friday,
cool.
a week from this Friday.
Message me more about
I will.
that. And let's
I will.
talk about that. Yeah, because
Definitely.
I think that's something we forget the connection.
Yes, ma'am.
We forget the connection. Ron Baptiste, that is with the Covenant Confirmers Church.
Yes.
I don't know people who don't know his heritage. His family, he is from 2 tribes. He is full-blooded Native American, and he has his heritage in 2 different tribes that met on the Trail of Tears.
Oh, wow.
That's Ron's heritage. It's fascinating. And we've got him right here. I mean, there's just so many interesting things, but we are right in the middle of the Trail of Tears, guys, and
Yes.
that's something we need to know all of our history. Thank you so much, Kathy, for
Welcome.
coming. And
Thank you.
And thank you for giving my scattered notions today.
That's okay.
I'm on summer break, so I
There you
don't
go.
have to focus, right? Thank you
Right.
so much, and good luck with the festival. We may see you there.
I hope we do.
Absolutely.
And all of you.
Yes, all of you come out to the Barrel Festival, Coopertown, and I'll talk about it, and we'll keep plugging it up until Saturday.
All right. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you, Kathy. And message me on that other stuff too. Thank you so much. And we're going to let them transition and let Aaron slide on in here. I don't know if he's been listening and just kind of shaking his head. Laverne, you're all mixed up. All mixed up. We're going to talk for just a quick minute about my friends over at Corbin Creek Greenhouse Gifts and Gardening Center. Come on in and sit down, Aaron. We're going to talk about Corbin Creek Gifts and Gardening Center because now is the time of the year that you need to go and get your garden growing beautifully, guys. If you need something new for your garden, if you need to get your bedding plant so you can have the best garden ever, and that's according to Brian Pooley, they had been picking up plants just all over the place for a couple of years and growing their garden, and it was okay. But last year, they got all their bedding plants from Corbin. Said it was absolutely the best garden they'd ever had, so they did that again, and I'm sure they'll do that from now on. And if you want to make sure that you've got well-rooted plants, go talk to Miss Amy out at Corbin, and you'll find something beautiful for your yard. I was there on Sunday, picked up some more of the mully grass that Lacey Bew has just got me crazy about. I need to go get me some hanging baskets for my porch. I'm just kind of wondering, okay, will I keep them alive this year? That's always the issue with me. But I'm not very good at taking care of plants. But Amy forgives me and sells me another one. So, and you can also get your CBD products there as well. Robertson County CBD that helps me so much with my arthritis. If any kind of an inflammation issue, it may be the game changer for you as well. So many fun things going on. Follow them on social media to stay up to date on everything that's happening. They are in their summer hours now, 9 to 5 Monday through Saturday and 1 to 4 on Sundays. Go and get your vegetable garden started today. They say it's not too late. You still have time, but you better get going with it. And a great place to start is at Corbin Creek Greenhouse Gifts and Gardening Center. Let them know U-Turn sent you. Aaron Slate's in the house. Have you been listening to me this morning? Have you heard any of my nonsense?
Well, I'm the same way. Anytime there's a long weekend or a holiday, I'm like, what day is it?
And
I'm with you.
I was in here Memorial Day though, but when Cathy sat down, I said something about it being Tuesday. She says, "No, it's Wednesday." And then the whole time I was thinking, "Well, did I let Brian and Tiffany know that they're not supposed to come in today because I've got the foreign exchange program coming in?" I even put foreign exchange. Completely forgot it was Wednesday, brother. I knew you were coming in on Wednesday, but I don't know.
I almost texted you last night. And I thought,
yeah,
with the holiday, like
yeah.
But
Well, but no,
I'm
this
gonna
is
show up
perfect.
and-
It all balanced out. It all worked out. Let's just pretend. My husband, he goes, when you mess up, Laverne, you don't have to keep telling everybody how you messed up. You don't have to draw attention to it. How are you doing?
I'm good.
How are
good.
you? I was thinking about you Memorial Day. I mentioned you. We were talking about people who knew somebody that they lost, and I was, sharing my stories of people who I know, and I could not think of your friend's name, but we talked a little bit about that. We've got veterans like yourself that have those people that they've served with that didn't come home.
Well, so on that note, there's a girl. I think we graduated the same year. She graduated from East Robertson. Her maiden name was Caldwell, Nikki Caldwell. She's Nikki Johnson now. She lives in Kentucky, but Nikki was married to a guy. They dated for a while, and he was getting deployed, and they couldn't wait, and they got married. And not long into that deployment, he was killed.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, she struggles every year on Memorial Day.
Imagine.
But yeah, there's more people around than
lot
what
of
what you would think. But I mean, when you think we were in a war for over 20 years,
yeah,
you're going to encounter those people.
Absolutely. And just in keeping with that, just don't ever forget, guys. Don't ever forget.
And Nikki put something on Facebook the other day, talking about how people just don't get it.
Yeah.
And I said, well, Nikki, I had to get my 2 cents in, but I said, Nikki, most people won't ever get it.
No.
And that used to really bother me. I said, but the older I get, the less it does bother me, because I've come to realize that, this is just my opinion, in order for people to really get it, then they'll have to have gone through what we've gone through. And I said, I don't wish that on anybody.
No.
So
yeah, absolutely. Well, God bless you all, and just wanted you to know you were in my thoughts, and appreciate your service. Thank you very much. Aaron Slate's here on a completely different note to give us financial advice and talking about all the things he does. Tell them where they can find you. Just unpack that real quick.
I'm glad you brought that up. I'm a financial advisor with Edward Jones. My office is in Greenbrier in the Franklin Farm Center. However, I've been working remote for about the last month. Our neighbors had a water leak and it flooded our office, but we've met with the contractors a couple times. We're meeting with them this afternoon, and they're supposed to be getting started on getting us put back together very soon.
Okay, because that's been going on for a minute. God bless you.
It's been about a month.
Yeah.
But everybody's busy and backed up right now in construction, so I understand. But thanks to all of our clients who have been patient with us. Thanks to Joe Tucker. He's another Edward Jones guy in Springfield on the Square. We have a really good relationship with him and the people in his office. And they've, for any of our necessary in-person appointments or even some of the new clients that we've brought on since then, Joe has allowed us to use their office.
That's great.
So yeah, it's been great.
Very good. So that's where they are. That's where they will be. Just give them a minute to get everything cleaned up. So very good. So
I will say we still have phone service. Miss Randy, the lady who works with me, her desk and her little workspace is still functional. Now when they do start, putting us back together and construction gets going, she'll probably be working from home as well, but our phones will be forwarded to our cell phones. So our phone number, our office number is 615-863-2142. Again, that's 615-863-2142.
Thank you very much. And we want some financial advice. I have things going on in my mind financially and kind of wondering what the mood is. I've got some kids who just bought a house. Their interest rate was too high. I'm hoping they're going to get a chance to refinance down the line and get a better rate. So what say you?
Okay.
What say you?
So just a reminder, the material that I usually use to guide these conversations, it can be found on edwardjones.com. They're just our weekly market wraps. I usually pull the reports from the last 2 weeks and use those to guide this conversation. But I'm going to start with the most recent one because I feel like it's the most timely. And the title of this report is Tech Outperforms as Investors Await a Debt Ceiling Deal in the June Fed Meeting. So I'm not going to spend any time talking about tech outperforming other sectors of the market. If you've watched the news or read any articles in an investment app, artificial intelligence has been unrolled, and that is giving the tech sector a boost in the markets.
Right.
Long story short, that's what's going on there. So there's been a lot of tension and even some anxiety, I guess you could say, around the debt ceiling and what's going to happen there. I've even got a few calls where people are almost like, should I sell everything I have? What's going on with the debt?
Right.
So just to, kind of back up, a couple of weeks ago when I was, having more of those conversations, our outlook, and I think the in the industry as a whole, the outlook has been the United States has never defaulted on its debt. We felt like and still feel like the chances of the U.S. government defaulting on its debt was very, very low, slim to none. And Congress has always managed to reach a deal. So we didn't have any reason to believe, that wouldn't happen. Of course, it's looking like it's going to, come down to the wire. It does every time. But what we do know is over the weekend, the Speaker of the House and the President, they've been having a lot of meetings. The Speaker of the House and the President did reach an agreement in principle, meaning there was, I think, all the main points they agreed on. But what has to happen next is, of course, that has to go through the House. Like an actual bill has to be put together, has to go through the House and then through the Senate before it'll become law. But as of right now, there's going to be a little bit of resistance because you have, the people on the hard right and the people on the hard left. But as of right now, markets seem to feel like that a deal will be reached. So I don't think there's any reason to, panic there.
So, I guess gaming it. What would happen if they did? If it did just fall apart? What kind of do you ever just kind of game that in your head, going, what could happen if the thing that we don't think will happen ever happen?
Everything that I read, always says that it would be just catastrophic, and it would, I read a report one time where it said, during the first day, the stock market would drop anywhere between 5 and 7% in one day. Yes, I've read a couple things, hypothetically, what benefit programs and, who wouldn't receive payments and who would and that sort of thing. But at the end of the day, I don't think anyone really knows how that would play out because it's never happened.
Right.
But essentially, U.S. Treasury bonds or government bonds, those are just those are debt payments, or they're debt instruments. So you purchase a bond, and in return, the government pays you interest, twice a year for however long the maturity is. So if a default were to occur, all that means is the government's not making those interest payments. I think the troublesome part of that, yes, Americans wouldn't receive their benefits, but let's just say you have a lot of foreign countries who own a lot of U.S. debt.
Right.
And they're not getting their interest payments. Somebody might come knocking on the door asking for their money. Of course, it's an investment. Nothing's ever guaranteed, but
interesting.
That's just my being a military man. I always wonder. I'm like, if there's a foreign government who was a big holder of treasury bonds, how would that go over?
Yeah,
I don't know.
Yeah, it's something that I for some reason I just don't worry about it anymore. And it's all a spiritual thing for me, and it's all just a Jesus thing that I just give it to him. What I can control, what I can influence, I do my part, I vote, I do the things I'm supposed to do, and then I trust Jesus with the rest of it. And I just move on, man.
Well,
But
the same fundamentals apply when it comes to investing,
Mm-hmm.
and I would say anything in life. Focus on what you can control.
Yes.
Um,
And then
Yep.
live life and be happy.
Yep.
And okay, so talking with Aaron Slate, and I mean that's kind of the elephant in the room, which you just addressed. Everybody's kind of like, what's going on with that? So I appreciate you jumping on that right out of the gate. So we're getting time to. What else do you want to cover? We've only got one more ad to do, so you just keep
we
rolling.
know for about the last year and a half,
Mm-hmm.
interest rates have been on the rise.
Right.
We're getting to a point where financial conditions and credit conditions are starting to get tight.
Mm-hmm.
So we're at a point where, people are asking and speculating how much further does the Federal Reserve have to go? Are they going to raise interest rates anymore? Are they going to pause and not raise anymore for a while? And when are they going to start cutting interest rates? So the title here is, Could a Fed Pause Be Short-Lived? As we look past the U.S. debt ceiling, the next market catalyst on the horizon perhaps lies in the June 14th Federal Reserve meeting. In recent weeks, several Fed officials have indicated that the Fed's focus remains squarely on fighting inflation, which remains too elevated for comfort. Despite better trends in headline inflation, inflation data last week moved higher, and services inflation remains persistent, driven by a solid labor market and still elevated wage growth. So what that is saying is inflation is still higher than what the Fed wants it to be.
Mm-hmm.
It's sitting, I believe the last numbers I saw was around 5-ish%. The Fed's target for inflation is right around 2%. So it's still high. It's getting better.
Mm-hmm.
But the question is now is the Federal Reserve, are they going to pause? Or are they going to raise interest rates
Even more? Yeah.
So with the strong labor market and broadly healthy economic backdrop, some Fed officials have been wondering if further rate hikes may be prudent to continue to keep pressure on inflation. In fact, markets are now also starting to price in one additional rate hike by the Fed, perhaps at the June or July meeting, bringing the Fed funds rate to 5.25% to 5.5%. So in our view, this is Edward Jones' opinion, the Fed is likely leaning toward a pause in rate hikes for now, particularly given recent uncertainty in the regional banking sector and some tightening of credit conditions, but any decision will likely be highly data dependent from here on out. So we know there's been some stress and some cracks, I guess you could say, in the regional banking sector. Like I said, credit conditions are starting to get tight, and that's what's caused, some of these cracks in the regional banking sector. So we feel like, based on all those factors, that the Fed is probably going to pause interest rates for now.
Okay.
Now, that's not to say, next month I'll say next month. We're not in June yet. Is today the 1st?
Yep. Today is the very final. I know.
I'm right there
Tomorrow's
with
the
you. I told you
first.
my
Tomorrow's the
days
first. Yeah, I'm
are
in a
running
mess.
together.
Yep.
But anyway, that's not to say that later on in the year, the Fed, couldn't raise rates again. Our outlook for right now, and I think I said this last time, when it comes to cutting interest rates, this report doesn't actually speak on this, but I'm going to. We still feel like a recession is likely sometime this year, probably toward the end of this year. So a lot of times what will happen with recessions is the Fed starts lowering interest rates in order to create liquidity and breathe some life back into the economy. So we feel like those interest rate cuts would be likely toward the end of this year or maybe the beginning into 2024.
Okay. And time moves fast, y'all. Just hang on. Don't panic. Like he said, do the things that you can do and trust God with the rest of it, guys, and just be responsible. What else you got for us, Aaron?
Alrighty, so let me go back to where I was actually going to start. I just wanted. I know sometimes I'm a little long-winded and can go down a rabbit hole, so I just wanted to make sure that I
Make
got,
sure you got that in because
yeah,
that was
'cause
pretty crucial.
right.
Yeah.
And like I said, I think that was the most timely subjects, and like you said, the elephants in the room. So the fate of the economy, it's in the hands or the wallets of the consumer. So the path ahead for the economy is in the hands of the consumer, given that 70% of U.S. GDP comes from personal consumption. Consumers have been quite resilient of late, but data confirms that consumers are beginning to look a bit winded. We think a gradual slowdown in consumer spending is likely to transpire this year. Unemployment is at a half-century low, while wage growth remains healthy, reflecting a strong labor market that should provide support to consumer spending as the economy slows. However, signs of softening employment conditions are beginning to surface. Like I said, a mild recession this year remains our base case outlook, but it may not look or feel like prior recessions thanks to a better positioned consumer. The upshot is that we think the stock market's lows last October captured a good portion of this outcome, meaning that even if a recession emerges this year, it does not, in our view, have to be accompanied by a drop to new lows for equities or for stocks. So a lot of conversations that I've been having with my clients recently, it sounds just like that, in simple terms. We do feel like a recession is likely this year. The words that I keep hearing are mild and shallow. But the good news is the stock market tends to be forward looking. It's what we call a leading indicator. It usually predicts what is to come. So when we think that we've been in this bear market where the stock market has been down 20% or more from all-time highs, we've been in this bear market for almost a year and a half. So when we think in terms like that, put it in the right perspective, we don't think that we're going to have to revisit the lows that we saw in October. So there's some opportunity there, with the Fed, likely going to pause interest rates, maybe even cut interest rates at the beginning of 2024. There's certainly good opportunity there to start rotating, and I know I'm about to get into the weeds and the nuts and bolts here, but to start rotating into some more long-term investment grade bonds. Don't take that as advice. It's all thought. It's just a thought. It's all based on you and your goals and your personal situation. But if you would like some help with that, we'd be glad to talk to you about it. So something else, it talks about unemployment, and if we do see a recession, it's probably not going to look or feel like a recession that we've seen in the past. And that's something else that I remind people of, and we might have talked about it before on the show, but I think, by historical standards, usually when you go through a recession, unemployment will spike. Well, what we're seeing today is still just a big lag effect from what happened in 2020, with COVID and the shutdowns. So when we think that there was this huge, there was this, I guess, there is a big void in the workforce currently that was created in COVID. And a lot of people will say, well, people just left work because they're getting checks to sit at home. And I think that's probably a small part of it. But I also think too, during COVID, we lost a lot of people to death and illness. We also, there was a lot of baby boomers who just left the workforce.
Yeah, they're like, I'm done. I'm out.
They went ahead and retired. So when you think that you've had people in the workforce for decades and they retire, and now it might take 2 or 3 people to do that one person's job. Yes, there's a huge void in the workforce. That's why nobody can find any help. So
is there any? And I don't know. This is just something that just popped in my mind. Has there been? People seem to be having less children too. So would there be less people entering the workforce for the first time? I mean, is population wise, have you seen anything like that? When you talk about a void in the workforce, you do have the baby boomers that are retiring. Right. Have we seen a drop in the ones coming into the workforce for the first time in any way?
That's a good
I don't
question,
know. I'm just kind of curious about that. I just wonder if you've seen that.
I haven't read anything about that.
Okay. I mean, I'm just curious because it seems to be people are having less kids, but of course the population increases. I don't know. Just a scattered thought that just jumped in my brain. So I'll quit talking.
With all that being said, like we say, if we go into a recession, it's probably not going to look and feel like recessions that we've seen in the past. Yes, we're starting to see the labor or the job market. We're starting to see that soften. Layoffs are happening. More people are switching and losing jobs. But the unemployment it probably isn't going to spike to like it has in the past. And also, talking about consumer spending and how consumers are in a much better place than what they have been in past recessions. And I would say, some of that or part of that is, due to stimulus and different things that we saw during COVID. But overall, the consumer is healthy still.
Okay.
And the, consumer spending is still, driving this economy, but, eventually that will slack off.
Okay.
But it's probably not going to be like it has been in past recessions.
Okay. Well, that makes sense too. And I tell you what, let me do my last break and we'll come back and give you all the time to wrap it up. We're going to run out of time here. So look at your notes and see what you got to cover. As we always do, we end up getting off on we really need to spend an hour with you, Aaron. I'll be honest, at some point we need to give you an hour. But let's pause and let's talk about Veterans Motorplex. If you want to get to the races this weekend, great weekend to do that. Gates will open at 4 p.m. And you know what? You can go for free. All you got to do is find this little Let's Talk Trash magazine that you can still find. Post Office, Home and Jewelers. They've got them at the Connection. They had it in the paper a few weeks ago. F&M Bank may still have a few of them. They came out at school as well, but that back page is a $40 value. You take this, and this is good throughout the entire racing season, so be watching for these, and you can take up to 6 kids and 2 adults. 8 people can get in with the back page of this paper. That is a great deal. Great racing, great things happening right here in our community. They'll have racing through October, and of course, this Saturday night, you're going to find just a wonderful time up here at 6801 Kelly Willis Road in Greenbrier. If you've got questions about how things work and what's going on, and if they've got the big wheel races this weekend, well, you can call 615-643-8725, 615-643-8725. Go and talk to Jerry. If you want to follow them on Facebook, follow them at Highland Rim Speedway. They kept the social media page because they already had so many followers. They just changed the header for Veterans Motorplex. Get in touch with them and talk to them about going to the races this weekend. And if you can find one of these papers, you can go for free, and be sure and let them know that U-Turn sent you. Let's get right back to the show and let Aaron finish it up for us, my friend. What is the most crucial thing that you need to cover?
I'm going to just wrap up that point that we were just talking about. So an atypical recession may be in the offing. So given the health of the labor market and consumer finances, we think household spending will hold up significantly better than prior recessions, giving this slowdown a different and more mild complexion. So we're drawing a comparison between what we're seeing right now and what went on in 2001. So we think an economic experience in the 2001 recession offers a reasonable comparison. The thrust of the downturn was fueled by a drop in business spending. Meanwhile, household consumption slowed but did not contract materially, helped by limited damage in the labor market. This result was a short, shallow recession. And then so you can go online and see this, but it has a chart, and it says the 2001-2002 recession and bear market recovery could be a reasonable comparison. And so when you look at the chart and you compare the market that we've seen for the last year and a half to the market that we saw in 2001, 2002, there is what I would call heavy correlation between those two markets. So it says, so far, performance of the index since the 2022 bottom has been comparable to the market performance following the 2002 bottom.
So,
if that brings any consolation or helps anyone sleep better at night, there is a moment in history. Of course, hindsight's always 2020, but it looks like it's a very comparable moment in time that we could go off of.
okay. And if you need to know more and you need somebody to sit down and just talk through with this is your man right here. Love him, and he is highly regarded in the community. I just, if anybody asks me about, who could I talk to about finances, I tell them you. And so how can they get in touch with you and give them all your particulars?
So my name's Aaron Slate. I'm a financial advisor with Edward Jones. Our office is in Greenbrier in the Franklin Farm Center. Our office number is 615-863-2142. Again, that's 615-863-2142.
Thank you so much, Aaron. You're always so interesting, and it's fascinating, and it does raise a lot of questions that we need to do an hour. You want to do an hour sometime?
We can.
Okay, well, maybe we can do that. We'll make that our goal. Maybe next month we'll do an hour so you can kind of unpack this and have more time, because there's always so much more to say. Thank you, Aaron, and get in touch with him at Edward Jones up in the Greenbrier area. And stay tuned, because it is time for Lee Marie to come on with The Go Show. She'll be in here in just a moment. Thank you for joining us. This is 1100 WSGI. God bless.